Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. So everybody should be wrapping up their Gizmo. I started checking some. I'll finish checking the rest because I have to go in and actually grade the ones that you had to write written answers for, so I have to add those up. I will be finishing that today. So we're in Canvas. I'll pull that up in just a second. A lot of questions. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Um, I'm not sure about the leaving early part because that depends on what we have to do, how much we get done. Okay. Okay. Jayla, I'll get back to you in just a second. People still coming in. There we go. All right. So we are in Canvas. All right. So there are so many things to pull up in the morning. And they had a new thing in GoGuardian, and I was fooling with that. All right, so in Canvas, we are, everybody should have done the My Habitat activity, and we are in species interactions. So if you could, I'm gonna share my page and just as soon as it'll let me. Chance, I'll check on your question once I get everybody started working. I can start by saying you've got a lot of missing things that I just need to open and make available to you. That's all. All right, and I'm looking at the grade book. A lot of you, half of you have not submitted your worksheet, your graphic organizer. Okay, so please submit those. All right, let's see here. Trying to get to the share page. All right, so if you had biology, which most of you have, this at the end of the year, when we did briefly did ecosystems, species interactions. So it's about relationships. So please give this page a read. We have vocabulary, obligate, and facilitative. Uh-oh. I'm getting a beeping noise in my headphones. That means that Something is about to crash. Okay. Well, I'm still here. Like I said, sometimes my when I share, Zoom doesn't like me. So if I disappear, don't go away. I'll be right back as quickly as I can. All right. Okay, so we have our two vocabulary, obligate, symbiosis. So we've been talking. You need to go back and look at the term. Let me back up a little bit. Symbiosis. Symbiosis. And we have positive relationships. So symbiosis means living together and describes close relationships developed between species. And the interactions between the organisms in the ecosystem are usually long-term interactions that can be positive for both individuals. It can be negative for one of the individuals, or it can be neutral, meaning they're not, whatever the relationship is that's going on between them doesn't bother either one of them at all. And we'll get into what that means in a minute. All right, so we have these two vocabulary words, obligate, and like obligation. Can't live without you. All right, so obligate symbiosis is when two organisms live in a relationship because they cannot survive without the other. So that means whatever one is doing for the other matters. It's a life and death situation. All right, facilitative. Let me decide. Do you want to? So that means they can be in that relationship or not. Okay, that's basically what that means. When they enter by choice. All right, so then we have these relationships here. There are 5 recognized interactions, and we're going to have to put positives and negatives with all of these interactions. So you might want to make yourself a little chart, write this down. We do have a project that goes with this. And again, if you did biology, you might have done this activity as well. Predation. And there's always 2 individuals in the relationship. So predation is the name of the relationship. The 2 individuals are a predator and a prey. In competition, again, there's 2 individuals. The 2 individuals are, like it says, competing for the same resources. And it's always about resources. It's always about resources, where you live, the water, the food, those type of things that you need to survive. They're what establishes these relationships. Parasitism. You have a parasite and you have a host. Those are the 2 individuals. Mutualism, you just have 2 individuals that are doing something for each other. So they're mutually benefiting from that relationship. And commensalism is the one where one is doing something and the other could care less. Okay, so we're going to look closely at each of those. What? It's just one of those that's not going to work. All right. Is your screen blank for this one too? Somebody shake your head up and down. In this section, mine is blank. Is yours blank? Okay, thank you. All right, so let's look at the video instead.
This video, we're going to focus on the interactions between those populations, the interactions between the different species. The technical term for that is interspecific interactions. I like to just say interactions between species.
And they spell out this clear and not Pacific. And that's a vocabulary word that you're going to have to know. So that's why I'm correcting that. So if you're looking at the captions, that's not what it should say.
Species. Now, the first one that is often thought about is the notion of competition. Competition. And this is when different populations, different species, are competing for the same resources. You can imagine a forest where you have different populations of plants that are competing for sunlight, that are competing for water, that are competing for nutrients in the soil. Even in this picture right over here, this is a picture of a community. All of these different populations of fish and other things, sea anemones and coral, they are sharing this same region, and many of them could be in competition with each other. They might be going after the same food, or they might be going after the same shelter someplace. And oftentimes, when people are talking about these interspecies or interspecific interactions, you'll see something like this, a minus slash minus, or a negative sign slash a negative sign. And that means that this type of interaction, when you have two species or two populations that are in competition with each other, the more that you have of one, it's going to have a negative effect on the other, and vice versa. If I'm a plant, and if I'm in competition with another plant, and that one's taking my light, and if there's more of it taking my light, that's going to have a negative impact on me, and vice versa. If I'm in competition with you and we eat the same thing, the more of me that there's around eating your food, that's going to have a negative impact on you, and vice
All right,
versa.
what I'd like for you to do is to take notes. So write down competition and write minus minus, because you do need to know the symbols for each relationship. Okay? So write that down. You can title it interspecifics with the S, specific relationships. And this one is competition, and write negative, negative. That means that there's having a negative effect on each other.
So the next form of interspecific interaction, or interaction between species, is predation. This is when one population likes to eat another population. And you might often associate predation with pictures like this that you see on television shows, on documentaries. You see a cheetah hunting. It looks like a cheetah hunting a gazelle or a deer of some kind. Actually, it says right here it's a young bushback. And this is predation. But this is not the only form of predation. This picture here of the goat eating grass, this is also predation. It's not quite as bloody and as violent, but it is still predation, because you have one species eating another animal, the goat, that is eating the grass. And this type of predation, the specific type of predation, is called herbivory. Predation slash herbivory. Let me do a little slash here. Slash herbivory, which is a special case of predation. And you'll often see a plus slash minus. The more of, let's say, this species that you have, the species that is being eaten, it's going to benefit the predator, but the more of the predator that you have, it's going to have a negative effect on the actual prey. Now, the next types of ones where you have long-term, fairly intimate interactions. Where you have organisms that oftentimes live with each other or even on each other. And this general term of organisms that have these long-term intimate in talking about symbiosis isn't just about benefiting each other. It could be that they're even hurting each other in some way, or that maybe one benefits while the other one really doesn't care. And so there's several types of symbiosis. The first that we could talk about is parasitism. Parasitism. And this looks a lot like predation, where the more the parasite benefits, the more of the host that there is, but the host is actually hurt by the parasite.
Okay,
and there's all
pause this for a minute. I got a couple of people say the screen is lagging. I know you're watching mine. Is there a way that you can watch it on yours and not at the same time and not conflict if it's lagging? But this is in Canvas, so you can go back and play it again if your screen is lagging. Like, yeah.
all sorts of examples of parasitism. We have right over here a zoomed in picture of a louse. So why is this parasitism? Well, if this louse, I should say, so this is parasitism, and we would call the louse here a parasite, parasitism. And this benefits by living in your hair because that's where it gets its food from. It can lay, or living on your scalp and get your food by sucking your blood. It can also eggs in your hair. In some ways, give you shelter from the rest
Shayla,
of the
mute
environment.
your.
But it's negative for you. It will make you itchy. It is taking your
Mom,
blood.
why you
It is
just call?
uncomfortable.
I'll pay you back.
And
But why you
so
just call the
parasitism,
pump? What is that?
again, it's
Jayla, you
good
gotta
for the
mute your
parasite, just like predation is
screen.
good for the
But I don't
predator,
just call
but
it the
not so
pump.
good for the host.
Does it tell has a
Parasitism.
P?
Now you have another situation where it is benefiting both sides, and that is called mutualism. Mutualism. Let me do that in a different color. So mutualism. This is where both sides benefit. And oftentimes when people talk about symbiosis, they're really talking about mutualism, which is a specific type of symbiosis where both species, where both animals, organisms benefit. They don't have to just be animals. This is an example of mutualism right here. Let me do that in a color you can see. So this is mutualism, where you have a clownfish living within a sea anemone. The sea anemone is providing the clownfish shelter, while the clownfish is keeping away other fish that might eat that sea anemone. So they are both benefiting from that interaction, and so that is mutualism. Now you have another category where one species is benefiting and the other one is maybe a little bit more indifferent. So one species is benefiting and then the other one, well, maybe it is a little bit indifferent, and we call that commensalism. Commensalism. And once again, there's many examples.
All right. While he's writing that, some of you, so most of the time they don't put a question mark, they put a 0. Okay, so don't put a question mark, put a 0. Okay, meaning that it's not, there is an effect, but it's kind of a null effect. They're not bothered by their presence, they're not bothered by what they're doing. One is benefiting from the other, but the other one is not benefiting, it's not harmed. It could care less. Okay. All right. Somebody asked, what are we calling this? We're calling this intraspecific relationships. This is the title. A question I can see. I haven't done is progress learning, so I don't know what you're talking about, Justin. We haven't done that in this class. All righty. So right now, before I let him finish, we have competition where there's a negative effect on both individuals. Again, if there's 2 individuals in a relationship. Predation or herbivory, where one is benefited, and in this situation, one is eating the other. So there is a positive effect for the predator, and there is a negative effect for the prey because the prey usually dies. And this one, parasitism is a positive for the parasite. It's negative for the host, and it's negative. It doesn't always kill them. It might weaken them. But the parasite not because it needs it for food source. So it might die because it gets so weak, or it gets so weak that somebody else can prey on them. But the parasite usually is not the reason why that organism dies. Commensalism, this is the one I told you, it's good for one organism and doesn't bother the other one way or the other. Mutualism is like you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Okay, they're doing something good for each other. All right, I'll let it finish. Maybe stop lagging.
of commensalism. This right over here is a picture of bacteria living on your skin, and you do have bacteria living on your skin right now, except it's actually, well, oftentimes it's a good thing. Sometimes it's mutualism, that it's providing protection from harmful bacteria, but sometimes the bacteria is surely benefiting. It's living off of nutrients on your skin. The skin is its habitat, but well, oftentimes it doesn't really have an impact on you. Now, commensalism, let me write this down. Commensalism, oftentimes the more that we study it and the more that we understand it, we realize that actually maybe the host actually is benefiting, in which it is mutualism, or maybe the host actually is getting hurt, in which case it is parasitism. So oftentimes commensalism isn't completely neutral for the host. It could go either way. And so these are...
All right, they took this as part, like an excerpt from a larger activity. All right, so take a few minutes while I do attendance to play with this. So you're going to read the situation and you're going to decide whether it's mutualism, parasitism, commensalism, or competition. Okay, so once you finish reading one, you can drag it to wherever you think it should go. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing so I can do attendance, but you work on that. And if you finish that before I get back with you, make sure you read over. So you should have a chart similar to the one down at the bottom. If you don't, that's what it should look like. Okay? All right. And again, writing that chart out for you will help you with the test that's coming soon. So everybody's doing the little matching section, and then you're looking at the chart. If you finish that, then we're going to talk about the case study that you're going to do. All right, so give that a read. It's not published for you, but it is now. Okay. All right, so I will explain that. Don't do anything with that. If you finish, just read. Okay, attendance. I think we are only missing one person. All right, in response to someone's question about grades, Tuesdays and Thursdays, I am available for extra help, 1:30 and 2 o'clock. If you, okay, that's Tuesday and Thursday, Tuesdays and Fridays, Tuesdays and Fridays, Tuesdays and Fridays. So if you need extra help, please let me know. If there is something that you have a 0 for that needs to be reopened, remember, I'll reopen it for you. I'm not changing the late date, so it'll still be late, but I will make it available to you so that you get a grade. Having a grade is better than having a 0. So please make sure that you catch up on anything you have a 0 for. All right. Yeah. All right. And Sherrod, the organizer. That is part of the grade. I'm looking at a lot of people who are idle. Everybody should be doing something. I'm about to explain the project, so you need to make sure that you're not idle, that you're actually participating. So you're reading the situation. So you have your little chart of pluses and minuses. If you need to write the vocabulary, what they mean down, then you need to do that. And then you need to decide which situation goes with which definition. Okay. I think. Nope, somebody else is missing. Okay. Yes, this is in the module. So I was in the module in that says species interactions. That's where you should be. Once you finish doing that matching section, um, look at the case study. I'm about to explain it right now. Okay. Okay. Why do I not have any attendance? Okay. Okay. Okay, I just lost somebody else. All right, folks, if y'all leave before I do attendance, I don't know that you're here. All righty. All right, so it's important that you know the definition of each of these. So it says, Maggie, I'm not going to let Amelia take my starting position as a soccer team away from me. So that means that they are losing. What is the relationship between? They are competing for the same position on the soccer team. So that should have gone here. All right, before I met you, I was adrift on a sea of despair, and my shoes were always untied. I don't know what I'd do without you. If I didn't have, and then the other person responds, if I didn't have you, my appliances would all still be broken, and I would not eat. I would eat only fast foods. I love you. All right, so they're doing something for each other. Okay, so that would be mutualism because they're doing something for each other. Darling, you are everything to me, the sun, the moon, the stars, and like glimmering diamond shining and lights, etc., etc. And Beth says, well, okay, as long as I don't have to talk to you. That means she's doing something for him, but she could care less. All right. So that's commensalism. And I think Marissa is just using me, but for some reason I don't really mind. Actually, yeah, well, hold on. It's okay. Uh, let's see. The last one is parasitism. Yeah, this one is definitely parasitism. This one, they are doing something for each other. That is competition. So this is that one. And what are you saying? Third one. Yes. Okay, gotcha. Gotcha. All right. There we go. All right, everybody's got those. All right, so they took real life relationships and to kind of give you an idea of what we mean. But what we're going to do is think about them in terms of other organisms. So, all right, so this is the activity that you have to do. And let me see if I can. All right, you have to select one relationship, one, not all three. Okay, not all three. One. So you're either going to do a commensalism relationship, you're going to, or mutualism, or parasitism. Okay, pick one relationship. And then you want to look up, and then try not to use the ones that they already gave you on the lesson and on the video. So pick something else, be unique. Okay, so look up the word, look up organisms that are involved in that relationship and pick one that's not. In other words, I don't want to see a whole bunch of sea anemone and clownfish ones. I'm not assigning, the class is way too big for me to assign everybody one. So you are free to choose which relation on the previous page. All right, so you're going to do a little background research, and this is what you want to gather information about. You want to gather information on the individuals that are involved in that relationship. So name two organisms, two. Okay, relationships take two. All right, include their ecological roles. What do they do in their environment? Which means you have to first say where they live. What is their environment? Are they in the Arctic? Are they in the ocean? Are they in the desert? Are they in the trees? Where do they live? And what do they do where they live? Okay. Talk about their life cycles. How long do they live? And the behaviors that they have in that environment. Okay. So understand that the environment in which the symbiosis occurs, and how it influences the relationship. So that means that, for example, they could be competing for shelter because it's hot. They could be competing because of a predator. What about the environment that they live in causes them to have the type of relationship that they have? Okay, so that's first thing you need to find out. So one, you need to pick a topic. Two, find two organisms that are in that relationship, and then do the background information about that. Okay, analyze the relationship between the two organisms in terms of your topic, meaning is it who's benefiting, who's not benefiting, who's not caring. Discuss it in terms of our and then provide a real world situation. So give talk a little, have a picture for sure, and talk about the setting that they're in, and give an example of maybe right now they might be endangered, they might be protected, they might be important to the environment. So this is what we mean by gather real world data. Have a chart, what's going on right now. What are the statistics for this relationship? So that's what real world data means. So two pictures that you want to have. You want to have a picture of each of the organisms, and then you want to have a picture of some data. All right. Evaluate the human impact. Does this bother us at all? Are we involved in this? Are we causing the relationship? Okay. So again, the pictures and charts are the ones that I told you. So that's actually three, because you have two organisms and a chart or a graph. Okay, and then have a summary at the end. Also include your references and citations. Pictures should have a citation as well. When you get a picture from Google Images, go to where it says where, let me show you what I'm talking about. Because a lot of you just say Google is your source. So let me say elephant. I'm just using an elephant as an example. I don't know why elephant came to mind. Okay, so you go to images because you want a picture in your pocket. So I took this nice picture of this big elephant. All right, you see over here where it says view page? You want to click on view page because you want to know where that picture came from. It didn't come from Google Images. It came from here. So this World Wildlife Organization, that's the text, that's the reference you want to put on your project. Okay, that's where the picture came from. You don't, and sometimes looking up the picture will take you to a site where it'll give you information about the organism that you're looking for. So that might be a good place to start. Okay, so once you figure out your two organisms that you want, look for an image. And I might be lagging really bad because the screen keeps freezing. All right, I'll repeat what I just said because I saw everything was frozen. All right, so again, let me back up and show you what I just did. All All right, let me use that one that I told you not to use. Okay, clownfish. Lovely pictures. And Nemo and Dory. All right, so let's say we pick this one. Or let me go back and pick the other one. All right, so the relationship here is the clownfish and the sea anemone. All right, go to view page. Verify that you're a human. Oh, yes, I'm a human. All right, let's not use that one. Just trying to verify that I'm human. That takes too long. All right. Oh, wait a second. But anyway, you get the general idea. Go to view page. Let me do that again. And not pick that one. Images. Let me pick this one. Go to view page. Oh, that's a bad one too. Right back. That doesn't put thingies on my computer. Not batting 1,000 these days. All right, let's try this one. And actually, you can almost see. There we go. That's a better one. All right, so you see this up here, wildlife animal blog spot. That's your reference because that's where the picture is actually coming from. Okay. I wouldn't use this one because it's a blog. So also be careful where you get your information from. But that's make sure you give your references for that. All right, back over here. All right. So you can go ahead and get started looking at. So again, pick one. You're either doing commensalism or mutualism. So start with this. Yes, it's a PowerPoint or Google Slides or however you do these things. I think it's kicking folks out. I got you. It says I have people in the waiting room, but I don't. Okay. All right. So again, pick one. Start your setup and define it. What is commensalism? What is mutualism? What is parasitism? And then say the two organisms that I'm going to study in this relationship are, and then go on to look at the type of background that they live in, and then discuss why they have the relationship that they have. Who is benefiting, and again, discuss the plus minus, or the minus minus, or the plus zero. Okay? Any questions, any questions, any questions? All right, so we got about 20 minutes left to class. You can use Google Docs. Yeah, however you do it, it should not be, it's not done like a book report, in other words. So you're not trying to cram everything on one slide. Sophia, does that answer your question? Okay. If you do it on a document, it still should be in paragraphs with definite pictures. So I guess it could be a Google Doc instead of slides. Slides look nicer, but it can be done that way. Everybody hear that? It doesn't have to be slides. It can be done as a document, but it should be definite paragraphs, including your pictures. That's okay. All right. Jayla, did you hear what I said about the project? Or were you out? Yeah, it looks like today's one of those tech issue days and people are getting kicked out and having to let you back in. All right, I'm going to repeat this again. I've just let 2 people in and they may need to. All right, now this is in the module. So this, if you're looking for where this is, it's in the module. It comes right after species interactions. So if you're looking for where this is, that's where it is. So read this over, make sure you've done the activities, you understand what the relationships are. So in other words, you are familiar with this chart here. You're going to pick one of those. And notice they don't have all of them, they just have 3 of them. We're not doing predation. We're doing commensalism. We're doing mutualism or parasitism. Okay. And again, try not to pick clownfish and sea anemone. Pick something that they didn't mention in the other video. And if you don't know what that is, go back and watch the video. And don't use that one. So again, you want to define which one you pick, find 2 individuals, and when you look up what the word is, it should tell you examples of organisms that are in that relationship. Then pick those, pick one of those, and then discuss what the ecosystem, where do you find this relationship? Are they in the woods? Are they in desert? Are they in the trees? Are they in the ocean? What kind of ecosystem do they live in? And discuss that. How do they affect, what is their role in that ecosystem? Are they important to that ecosystem? In the circle of life, if we remove them from the circle, what effect would that be? Okay. And when you're analyzing the relationship between them, you're actually discussing, this one does this for that one. This one does this for that one. This one isn't doing anything for the other one. This one hurts this one. How? Not it, don't just tell me it's a good relationship, a bad relationship. Explain how. What exactly does it do? You know, there's a bird that removes the ticks off the back of a horse. So explain it just like that. Be specific on what they do. All right, wait. We picked 2 specific organisms. Yes. Yes, Sophia. So you're picking a heading. So for example, mutualism. You're going to define mutualism. Then you're going to find 2 organisms that have a mutualistic relationship and discuss them specifically. Okay? So it stops being general after you pick your 2 organisms, then you are specifically talking about the 2 organisms, what they do for each other. All right. Again, please ask questions if you are not clear as to what you need to do. Okay, the assignment is in the module. I might need to edit. I think I do. When it's available to you. So I'm about to do that right now. Yeah. It has no dates, so let's do that. It's available today. And it's going to be due next week. So next Thursday. And it'll be available until next Friday. There we go. So now it should show up on your to-do page as well. All right, so let's see if that's the case. Yep, there it is. Types of ecosystem case study. So now it's on the to-do list and it's in the module. Any other questions? All right, so get started on that today. I'll give you, we'll have class time to do it on Monday. But that's it. After that, on next Thursday, we will move on. Please use your class time wisely. All right, it is due next week. So, all right, so I just put the due dates in. It is due September 11th, which is next Thursday, a week from today. So it's available today. It is due next Thursday. And it'll be open until Friday. After that, it's shut down. Yes, indeed, you may. Again, please use your class time wisely so you have the rest of this time, which is about 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. And then you'll have all of class on Monday, but that's it. So again, please use your time wisely. You need to answer each one. So there are 5 things that you need to discuss it. So if you're looking at paragraphs and how long it should be at least 5 paragraphs with 3 pictures. But each one needs to be, so I can't really say how many sentences because it depends on your description of the organism. Each one is going to be different. For example, the first one's whatever your topic is, number 1, select a topic and you define it. That's 1 sentence. So that's 1 sentence. Number 2, once you decide to on your 2 species and start gathering information, that is going to be the bulk of your discussion. And you're going to have a discussion about each species. So that's not just a couple of sentences. Number 3, it says analyze the relationship between the 2. That can be 2 sentences discussing on who's doing what for who. Real world situation, that's a chart. Number 4 is a chart. Number 5 is a paragraph also, but that could be 2, 3 sentences on the human impact on the ecosystem. All right, so you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 being the things that you need to address as far as information. 6 just says have pictures, and 7 says have a summary. So yeah, summary, you need to have a summary. And then your citations is number 8. Okay. It does not matter the format you use, no. So again, it can be a Google Slides, it could be a report setup, that's fine. It has to be complete, it has to include everything. It does help to have the headings on it though, if that's what you're asking me. So again, you have a title and a definition of your title. And then you have, you've identified your species. So you have a paragraph on background information on each species. Then you have relationship, analyze the relationship between your two species. That's another section. Your real world data is a graph or picture or something. Ecological impact is a title. Summary is a title. Reference is a title. Let me see if that's still open. Chance, I'm going to do this, look at. Hmm. All right, I'm going to make sure that the gizmo was supposed to be closing today. I'm going to extend that for those of you who might have had some difficulties. Let's see, actually it's open until tomorrow, but I'll also make the due date tomorrow. Excuse me. So the due date and availability for the gizmo is tomorrow now. So you still can turn in the graphic organizer. I'm going to use the rest of this time to finish adding up your points. So the points plus graphic organizer will be the score that you get in Canvas. All right, so the graphic organizers, I'm going to edit that and put it in there too. The graphic organizer is worth 20 points, and the quiz, no, let me take that back. I'm thinking two different classes. There is your gizmo, it has 91 points worth of information. Excuse me. I can't put it in as 91 points, so I'm going to put it in as 90 points plus 10 points for the graphic organizer to make it add up to 100. So you'll get a grade. So it'll actually look like 10. Okay. So it's 90 plus 10, but then it goes in the grade book as a 10 for 100. It's going to be a decimal. I can't put 100 in the Canvas. It's too many points. Okay. So I have to convert that somehow to balance out. All right, what you submitted. Let me see. And again, with the graphic organizer, all you really had to do was if you did the activity, you were copying the information from the activity for food chain. So all the organisms, the producers, the first primary, secondary, it should have looked just like the activity screen. Same thing for food chain. When you finish doing the web, sorry, it should what you put on the paper should look exactly like what you did in the activity. A couple of people asking me, what am I supposed to write in the box? What am I supposed to do? Just copy it. Copy it. Didn't have to make up anything. Just copy what you see on the screen, copy it, put that on the organizer. Then you had to define um, keystone species and then talk about its effect. Okay. And then again, the definition for keystone species was in the glossary. All right. All right, so you didn't have to make up anything, and you didn't have to figure it out other than what you did in the activity. All right. Oh my goodness. I don't know why it logged me out. I can do all of that. I already did this today. All right. Yes, it's lunchtime. I was just trying to respond to somebody's question before I let you all go. But yes, it is definitely time to go to lunch. Time to go to lunch. So see you next week. Justin, I did answer your question. Please check. Um, okay. Glad you're in the right class today. Everybody's internet is slow. I thought it was just mine, but it seems to be everybody's having internet issues. It is kind of unnerving. All right, see y'all next week. Oh my gosh, no.